Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today we have Rachel Schnorr, Joseph Holland, Kristen Mims, Carla Johnson, and Kyle Elliott. Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today I'm honored to have Sean Stephenson with us. He's an American therapist, self-help author, and motivational speaker, sharing the stage with former US presidents, billionaires, celebrities, and even the Dalai Lama. He's also appeared on popular shows such as The Oprah Show, Jimmy Kimmel. He's an international bestseller called Get Off Your Butt, B-U-T, empowering others to build confidence in their own lives and careers. And as a board-certified therapist and a doctor of clinical hypnosis, Dr. Stephenson sees clients in a unique 12-hour session that gets to the root of their fears, excuses, and insecurities. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you again.
Yeah, great conference, great experience. Love Ontraport.
Thank you.
Been a user for several years now, and it's one of the few companies that I get excited to promote that aren't my base.
That are your own companies. Awesome. So for those of our viewers who don't know who you are, can you give them like the 1 second, story about the wheelchair and the situation here?
Yeah.
And we'll get on to
it's
what
all
you've
a
done.
marketing ploy.
So, you are seriously committed.
Exactly. I'm all in on marketing. So I was born with a rare disorder called osteogenesis imperfecta. Affects the bones. From about 0 to 18, I'd fractured over 200 times.
Messed up.
Something as simple as sneezing, breaking a rib. Multiple surgeries, lots of challenges. You can imagine people staring once in a while,
Once in a while.
However, with this container, I've had a phenomenal life through my choices.
Yeah.
And so what I teach in our company is how do you get your message out into the world? So one of the things that we do at Lucra, our company, is we help create world thought leaders. And to be an amazing world thought leader, you first have to become an amazing world human, right? You got to be a human that loves their life and puts out great message and cares about others. So my wife and I have owned this company and built it from the ground up, and she handles teaching people about coaching. You interviewed her before, and I teach people about how to become speakers. And our overall message is you got to do more good on this planet.
Awesome. So you guys have been doing this for quite a long time. It's a successful business. I know you have some pretty big name clients, and you've done all that, overcoming some unique challenges. If you could go back and give your younger self, I actually have no idea how old you are.
I'm about to turn 40.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Wow. If you could go back and give your younger person a bit of advice that would have made your career easier, what would that be for you?
It is so right up the Ontraport discussion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would put all my attention on building my list.
Oh, really?
Yep. It's the biggest mistake I've made.
Because you've had the opportunity to speak on these ridiculous stages,
and
you walked away with no names.
Yeah, here's the issue is I got so committed to getting a message out there that I didn't realize until I met my wife and started building this company with her, the importance of building the tribe. So I would think like, oh, Landon, we met, we had this great exchange. Certainly you'll follow up with me on your own.
Yeah.
Well, that never happens, right? And so what I've learned by using incredible tools like Ontraport is you need to build that tribe where people are so busy in their day-to-day life that you knock on their door lovingly and say, hey, do you know that great feeling you had when I taught you that last thing? Would you like another great feeling? Would you like another great feeling? Would you like another great thought? Would you like another great tool? And when you keep bringing that value to them, they are grateful that you are staying in touch with them. And in early stages, I didn't understand that. I thought just being an amazing speaker was enough. And it wasn't. Just being amazing at whatever product or service you have is not enough. You have to be amazing at building that tribe and the community and the conversation. And so over the years, I would grow a list and then shrink the list, and grow a list and then shrink, and then hop from this email company to this email company to this email. And I would constantly be buzzing around with online tools, no longer building any continuity in my marketing, no consistency in how I reach out to people, and then therefore no nurturing sequence. And then at the end of the day, I'd be like, well, where are all my customers?
Yeah.
Well, it's because I forgot or didn't put my attention on building the tribe.
Interesting. As you're saying that, I was just realizing that, especially when we're sort of selling to business people, that not only are they probably grateful that you're staying in touch, but they're also probably impressed that you're staying in touch, and that you're actually doing that is almost like demonstrating. A demonstration of where they should be, of caring, but also like it's like almost aspirational for them. Like, shit,
Sure.
I should be doing the same. I should have been the person staying in touch.
Yeah.
But look at this guy; he's a real professional.
So have you ever heard this conversation piece that most people feel let down every day of their life? And that's a harsh, negative reality. And I don't mean to paint a Debbie Downer picture here, right? But really, most people feel like, my company doesn't really care about me, or my parents didn't follow up with me enough about like my goals and my dreams, or my friends, they really don't check in with me that much. And then what they end up gravitating toward? They end up gravitating towards television and media, because they know at 7 o'clock on Friday The Bachelor is coming out,
and they're not going to get disappointed.
and they're not going to get disappointed or let down, even though that may be crap. I don't know, I don't watch The Bachelor, but like, even though something might be crap, but if it comes about consistently, they feel loved. They feel like they can count on it. And so as I developed this mindset in marketing, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I want my customers to feel loved, a part of that is consistency.
I pretty much can count on that glass of wine being there every night too.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me about your unique skill set. You obviously have been speaking for a long time.
Yeah, 24 years.
24 years, and you're great at it. I've seen you speak a number of times. It's always fun.
Thank you.
Beyond being a great speaker,
what other skill sets?
Yeah, what is it that you bring to the table that has you be the person that people go to for training?
So when I started my career as a speaker 24 years ago, I was a kid, and I was literally, people asked me like, what got you into speaking? And it was money. And that's not a joke. It's not to be funny. It's like, literally, I wanted a side job to be able to buy video games, candy, shoot, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, well, I need a job and a side job. And that's when my counselor asked me if I would speak to another school about what it's like to have a disability. We'll pay you $75.
You're like, okay.
Whoa, I'll take it.
Yeah.
That'll buy a lot of Sega Genesis video games. So I took the job, and from there it grew until one day, Landon, my life took a huge change in course. And that was, I was speaking at a church, and a young lady came up to me, probably junior high age, and she said, Mr. Stephenson, why do I do this to myself? And she rolled up her sleeves, and she had cuts all up and down her arms.
Oh, shit.
And at first I thought, like, what are you talking about? Like, did your cat attack you?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? But then all of a sudden I remembered hearing about self-mutilation on some news program, and I'm like, oh my God, this is self-mutilation. I don't have an answer for this young lady.
Yeah.
And so I said, I don't know why you do this, but I'm gonna go find out. And that changed my life, because then that's when I went back to school and became a therapist and later a doctor, because I wanted to know, why does a human being harm themselves? And there's more than just cutting yourself.
Sure.
When you get into addictions, when you become abusive to yourself or others, when you allow other people to be abusive, all these different things that can go astray in a human being's life through different conditions. I wanted to understand it. So that's, at some point, I was, started speaking 24 years ago, maybe about 8 years in that happened. And so I've been a professional listener as a therapist for the past 18 years.
Wow. What an interesting story.
It's really so I could understand what was making my audience tick.
Yeah.
Because, you can tell funny stories, you can pull at heartstrings, there's things you can learn about triggering, marketing, and all that stuff, but do you really know what's going on in the mind of your customer? Are you really clear on how things are emotionally impacting them?
Yeah.
And for me, that was really important, because I could see it was having a visceral impact on these people's lives.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know how to handle it and do the follow-up one-on-one if need be.
Yeah, and so for you, the skill set that's underneath that is really sounds like the ability to step back and listen, and then have empathy and
Having the
understanding.
skill sets, the strategies to say, okay, so the reason why you are cutting yourself, the reason why you are drinking too much, the reason why you're smoking, the reason why you are continuing to blow all the money that you're making, and is to have the strategies to understand what makes a human being tick, and then what I can do to help them get back on course.
Yeah. Normally I ask, what's working in your business to get customers right now. Sounds like, you've kind of figured out that speaking plus following up is the magic bullet. So I'm kind of curious what it is that you would say for your speaker clients. What's working for them to get business right now?
Well, the biggest thing for speaker clients is visibility, right? You need to get on as many stages as possible. You need to get your message out there. So it comes back to what we mentioned earlier, consistency. I have consistently put out online videos through social media for the last, let's say, 12 to 15 years. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably into the thousands now of videos that I've made. And people will see, they'll be like, well, how did you get a video to go viral? Right? What makes something go viral? And I think viral is anything over 1 million views.
Sure.
Right? And so we've had...
I think viral is anything over 1,000.
Okay, there you go. There you go. So we have been blessed to have probably well over a couple dozen videos go over 1 million. And we've had one go mega viral, which we watched go up 1 million views an hour for days until it finally leveled off at 70 million views.
Wow.
And when people hear that, my speaker students see that, they think like, oh, I want that magic pill. And I'm like, well, you know how I got there?
Yeah.
Consistency. I consistently put out videos, and then some caught on. Some hit the nerve just right. That somebody was like, I need to share this. Like that one video that got 70 million views, Landon, the most impressive stat is not 70 million. It's 1.2 million. That's how many people shared that video.
That is insane.
And when somebody shares a video, they're saying, I want my whole community, I want my friends, family, children, I want everybody that I love to see this piece of content. And it doesn't matter if it's a blog, a podcast, a video, email that you write. If you create something with a consistent mindset, constantly putting out content, you are going to learn what people like, what people gravitate toward in a way. And then you can get better and better and better in speaking into their listening. So when it comes to helping my clients get the speeches, I say number one is consistently doing something. When you consistently ping an event coordinator and say, hey, how do you bring in speakers to Ontraport? Hey, how do you bring in people to your sales team meetings? And you literally have to ask questions that have that little moment of squirm. When you ask a question that somebody might say, well, we don't do that, or you're too new, or whatever. When you have that little squirmy moment where you might look like the novice or the weirdo, but you can stay in that squirm.
Just breathe through it.
The money's on the other side. The money is always on the other side of the squirm. And it doesn't matter how big of the amount of money you ask for, the money's always on the other side of the squirm, because if you're not willing to squirm, they can never write you the check. So consistency. The other thing is just knocking on the door and having that squirm moment. Hey, Landon, I know that you have this conference. How do you bring in your keynote speakers? Usually the person at the top doesn't know anything other than what they're good at, right? So, but they can get really good at pointing you in the right direction. Well, we have an event coordinator. They have a call for programs once a year. In August, we find out who, and now you can become a research hound and get there. A big part of growing any business, whether it's a coaching business like we have, a speaking business like we have, is finding out the data, getting the research of who makes the decision, who writes the check, when do they write the checks by. And then by knowing that data and collecting that data, now you can go after things.
It's not just that you made 1,000 videos and look, if you want to have a viral video, it turns out it's 1 in 1,000, and so make 1,000 videos and one will go. But it's that you actually have to acknowledge that you don't know what you're doing at the beginning, and you really
I don't know what I'm doing now. But the truth is, I know a
little
bit more.
A lot more.
I know a little bit more than I did, right? But I mean, when you really get into anything, like I have a doctorate of clinical hypnosis. I have studied the unconscious mind for 18 years. And I can tell you, I feel like I barely scratched the surface. Because when you read a book and then you check in the back and you see all the books that they're referencing, and you're like, oh crap, I want to read all those books. And then you read all those books, and what do they have? More books in the back, right? So any topic, whether it's marketing, sales, clinical hypnosis, dog grooming.
Speaking.
It doesn't matter. There's all speaking. There always is more to go study.
Yeah.
The thing that I think makes the videos, to reference the videos, go viral isn't just about making 1,000 videos. Because you can perfect at what you suck at. and so I don't think it's just about making the 1,000 videos. It's about making the 1,000 videos and between each video, listening and reading the comments, talking to people, showing them to people, watching people watch the video when they're not aware that they're being watched, right? And then gathering that data and then going back to work. So there's one thing that I found for a viral video to happen is it needs to be timeless. I have found that is the one thing that causes videos to go viral. It's got to be timeless content. A video that goes viral in 2007 is just as interesting in 2018.
Yeah, David After Dentist, still funny.
Yeah, or the Dance Evolution guy, or the Charlie Bit My Finger, or whatever it may be. They're just as relevant today, and they will be just as relevant 20 years from now because they're timeless. Now, there's a lot of other triggers, but you need content that's timeless if you want it to go viral, because then it'll span the test of time, because you don't know how long it's going to take till it takes off. I had a video where I just danced on the video. It was called Sean Stephenson's Dance Party.
Oh, wow.
And it was out online for about 9 months before any traction happened. And then it took off. But then I put out a video that went to 70 million, where I just held up Post-it notes. I didn't speak. And that went viral within the first 24 hours. You don't know when something's going to catch.
Yeah. So what do you do? What do you say to somebody who is, impatient? I mean, it's hard to persevere through 100 videos when there isn't a bunch of comments to go through because you're getting like 14 views. How do you get somebody to feel good about continuing to hack away? I mean, it's the same thing with anything, right? Like you start tennis when you're not 6 years old, and it's freaking hard, or you start playing the guitar and your fingers hurt, and you're like, man, I gotta
The quickest way to deal with it, and the best way that I've seen, and this is gonna sound cheesy, but you gotta hang in there with me. Write a big check. When you go to people who are amazing at getting the results that you want and you write them a big check, they'll compress that time with you. I guarantee you, if I wanted to build out my list and my Ontraport community and all of that, if I sat down with you or one of your team members, you don't even have to think about this consciously anymore. It's just rattling off unconsciously, and we got an hour of your time and you saw everything we were doing, you could look at it and go, right here, this is where you're missing the boat. And you just would help us zero in on something that might have taken us the next 10 months or 10 years to figure out. And by writing you a check, that allows you to say, okay, I'll put everything else I got on pause to look at this.
Yeah.
So I think writing a big check, I mean, every massive moment in my career was on the other side of writing somebody else a big check.
Wow. Interesting insight. And we've had other people come on here and say, get a mentor or whatever. And I'm always asking, how do you get a mentor? But write a big check is a quick way.
It is. And you know what? When you write a big check, then the other person's got a high level of interest and accountability.
Yeah.
Right? If I handed you a big check and I was like, Landon, hey, I want 1 hour of your time.
Yeah.
And you felt like that check was a sufficient amount for you.
Yeah.
You would take that 1 hour seriously.
I would, yeah.
You wouldn't be like, oh, geez, well,
my phone's ringing.
No, you would be like, boom.
Yeah.
Because I would be handing you a lot of my fun tickets.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, all right, let's have fun. And then you get to work with me.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but you don't need to write big checks. You can also learn things through YouTube and stuff like that. It's going to take you longer, though.
Yeah.
That's why when people come to our coaching, speaking, wellness trainings, at the end of the day, we say, you want to speed up time? Write a big check. And some people are like, oh, that's self-promotion. Maybe so, and it's also still true.
Yeah, totally. So what are you learning right now? Are you writing any big checks to anybody about
I am learning, and I am writing big checks. I'm learning a lot about building teams. My wife and I, Mindy Kniss, she is the CEO of our company. I'm the director of sales, and I am constantly, I'm in different masterminds, different groups myself,
Yeah.
where I'm writing big checks. She's in masterminds and education programs where she's writing big checks.
Yeah.
And then we come together and we're like, all right, let's expand our team. We just acquired a new company that we brought in because we thought, man, these people are amazing at it. Let's take them off the market and have them work for us. So we just bought a new company. We just bought our largest, most expensive domain name that we've been looking forward to for a while. We've been in back and forth negotiations for a while. So we bought a nice domain name that's really clear and to the point.
Yeah, you telling us what it is?
Can I tell them? No, I got a no from the CEO.
No from the CEO.
No from
Okay.
the CEO.
Okay.
And so let me tell you, she's my partner in love too.
Okay.
So Landon,
No,
I'm
no
not going to
means
mess
no.
with this woman.
No means no.
So here's the thing: when we build out our team, we win because. Ideally, if you've ever heard of the book Built to Sell, you know, when you build something and you build it to sell, it's not that you want to sell it.
Right.
It's that you build it so it actually runs better without you.
Right.
And Landon, I'm pretty sure just by knowing a little bit about how you run things, you are really good at being in control. But when you teach people how to be in control in your place, you can walk away and come back.
Yeah.
Like you go on a motorcycle trip and you come back, your company should be bigger and better than when you stayed.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be really annoyed when I come back. So tell me about this, Sean. Your legacy. You must think about like what it's all about in big picture.
Yeah.
What would you like your legacy to be at the end of the day?
Well, I heard Wayne Dyer, one of my mentors who passed away a few years ago, he said something brilliant about legacy, and it's really stuck with me. I don't care if people remember me. And when he said that, I was like, whoa, I get what he means. I don't care if people remember me. I just want them to remember what message came through me. And what messages come through me for a while now, and for the remainder of my life, it will be to rid this world of insecurity. When we are insecure, we do stupid shit that we regret. And when we do things to take care of ourselves and take care of others, we're always proud of the impact we make. So I want to help people reduce the pressure and noise in their minds so that their insecurities aren't running the show.
And is there anything
cure?
pithy you have to say
Yeah,
about
of
people's
course.
insecurities?
So an insecurity, just to define it, is that feeling that you're not enough.
Yeah.
You're not tall enough, smart enough, thin enough, pretty enough, whatever it is, enough.
Yeah.
Which is just untrue, but it feels true at the time. The cure to insecurity is self-care. When you take great care of your mind, your body, your spirit, your health, wealth, and relationships, when you put your self-care as your highest priority, your insecurities remain dormant. It's fascinating. I've studied this for so long. My body has been my own chemistry set. This container has brought out a lot of insecurities, as you can imagine. And so to deal with those insecurities, I have been on this endless pursuit of what keeps these insecurities from eating me alive. And it came down to self-care. When I am on my exercise regimen, when I'm staying hydrated, when I'm meditating, when I'm spending time learning great things, when I'm creating great content, when I'm doing these self-care activities, my insecurities, they go dormant. And then I can hear what I need to be doing on this planet.
Yeah, I totally hear that. It's, to me, you know, I'm a relatively confident guy, but what gets me is always the same thing, and it's me telling myself that I should be doing something that I'm not doing, pretty much, right? Like, you asshole, you don't work out enough, or you shouldn't, you
shit all over yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like, I should have, like, another night went by and I worked instead of hanging out with my kids, or whatever those things are.
Well, what I would tell you, if you were my client in this moment, is I would say, you're right, now what?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?
So
right?
what? So what? Because you know what? There is a million ways to live your life, and you're only going to get to live it one way, and that's the way you do. And so when you play like the alternate realities were a better option than the one you chose, you go crazy. So just enjoy being you and enjoy trusting the process that what you chose was the one thing you needed to do. And so and life's not about balance. Balance doesn't work. It's about harmony. When you have some notes higher and other notes are lower, it's beautiful. When you try to make everything balanced, you go crazy. Some nights you're not going to be with your kids.
Yeah.
And if you show them that dad is passionate and making a difference by adding opportunity for people to the world, they will understand. And that when you are with them, the quality will be so off the charts. They'll be like, gosh, it was so cool hanging out with dad and doing this. Versus you're there, but you're also at work in your mind.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be present with them for 1 hour a week
Yeah.
than not present the entire month.
Yeah, absolutely true. Well, great. Tell me this. We'll wrap it up by seeing if we can get you to answer the question what it means to be a modern entrepreneur. We're trying to identify, what is unique about this moment, 2018, 2019, when this is published. What do you think is different today than was just a few years ago when it comes to being an entrepreneur?
Because now we can solve problems digitally at the speed of thought. Mm-hmm. And that the world is completely flat and such a small space now that a child in Kenya, Africa, can learn about insecurities at the same speed as you are right now running a company. Mm-hmm. And that information is so easy and inexpensive to get out there that it is a beautiful time to be alive in business.
Yeah, and in general.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sean, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Right.
Would you sign our wall?
I would love to.
Awesome. Thank you so much.